chosen one. Before you leave this message, take a deep breath and listen carefully. Because today, God is speaking to the person who has been underestimated for far too long, the one who was laughed at because of where they came from, the one who was ignored because they didn't have enough money, the one who was mocked because their dreams seemed impossible, the one who kept believing, even when everyone else stopped believing in them. If that's you, then this message isn't an accident. God says, I saw every moment they laughed, and I have not forgotten a single tear you cried. Chosen one. There were days when people looked at your life and decided you would never become anything. They judged your future by your present condition. They saw your struggles and assumed you had no purpose. They saw your delays and called you a failure. Some even smiled while secretly enjoying your disappointments. They thought your silence meant you had given up. They believed your dreams had died. But heaven says, while they were laughing at your situation, I was preparing your transformation. Chosen one. People often judge too early. They look at the seed and fail to imagine the tree. They look at the storm and forget that the sun always returns. They look at your current chapter and believe they've already read the ending. But only God knows the complete story. Only God knows what He's preparing behind the scenes. Chosen one. Remember Noah. For years, people laughed while he built the ark. They mocked his obedience. They questioned his faith. They called him foolish. Day after day, he kept building, not because he understood everything, but because he trusted God. Then one day, the rain came. The same people who laughed suddenly realized Noah had been right all along. Chosen one. The same principle still applies today. Sometimes, faith makes no sense to people who cannot hear God's voice. They'll criticize what they don't understand. They'll mock what heaven has already approved. But don't let their laughter distract you from your assignment. God says, keep building what I told you to build. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep obeying. Even if no one else understands. Chosen one. The enemy wanted public embarrassment to destroy your confidence. He wanted every insult to become another reason for you to quit. He whispered, look at them laughing. You'll never prove them wrong. You're wasting your time. But today, God says, you were never called to prove people wrong. You were called to prove my faithfulness. Your testimony has never been about revenge. It's about revealing God's power. Chosen one. Have you noticed how much stronger you become? The criticism that once crushed you now drives you closer to prayer. The rejection that once broke your heart now teaches you wisdom. The loneliness that once frightened you now reminds you that God's presence is enough. You are not the same person you were a few years ago, because hidden battles create strong believers. Chosen one. Today, God says, the season of being laughed at is coming to an end. Very soon, the same people who question your future will witness my favor upon your life. Not because you chased recognition, but because I decided it was time to fulfill my promise. And when that day comes, you'll know it wasn't your strength. It wasn't your talent alone. It wasn't luck. It was my hand guiding every step. Your story is changing. Your season is changing. And the miracle you've been praying for is closer than you think. Chosen one. If you're still here, then perhaps this message has reached you at the exact moment God wanted. Because today, He says, Do not mistake their laughter for my opinion of you. For too long, you allowed people's words to become louder than God's promises. You remembered every insult, every sarcastic comment, every person who said you would never succeed, every family member who doubted your dream, every friend who secretly believed you would fail. Those voices stayed in your mind long after the conversations ended. But today, God says, it's time to silence every voice that contradicts what I have spoken over your life. Chosen one, the world measures success by what it can see: money, status, popularity, recognition. But heaven measures success differently. It measures faithfulness, obedience, humility, integrity. People may applaud someone with wealth, while heaven celebrates the one who remained faithful during the hardest season of life. God says, before I trusted you with public blessings, I wanted to see if you would remain faithful in private. Chosen one. Remember David. Before he became king, he was just a shepherd boy. His own family overlooked him. When Samuel came to anoint Israel's next king, David wasn't even invited. No one expected anything great from him. Yet while everyone else judged appearances, God was looking at the heart. Years later, the same shepherd everyone ignored became the king no one could deny. Chosen one. Your current position does not determine your future. Where you are today is not where God is taking you. The chapter people laugh at today may become the testimony they admire tomorrow. Chosen one. There were nights when you cried because you felt left behind. You watched others move forward. You wondered if your opportunity had already passed. You questioned whether God had another plan for someone else and forgot about you. But God says, what I have prepared for you has never been assigned to another person. Your blessing carries your name. Your calling carries your name. Your purpose carries your name. No one can steal what I have already written for your life. Chosen one. The enemy wanted comparison to steal your peace. He wanted you to believe that because someone else succeeded first, you had somehow failed. But comparison only blinds you to your own miracle. God's calendar is different for every person. Joseph became a ruler after prison. Moses began leading Israel at 80 years old. Abraham waited decades for the promised son. None of them were late. They arrived exactly when God intended, and so will you. Chosen one. God says, the people who laughed only saw your struggle. They never saw the strength I was building inside you. Every delay strengthened your patience. Every rejection increased your wisdom. Every disappointment deepened your dependence on me. Every lonely season taught you to hear my voice more clearly. Nothing has been wasted. Every painful chapter has been preparing you for the blessing that is now approaching. Chosen one. Very soon, the same people who mocked your dreams will wonder how everything changed. They'll think it happened overnight. But only you will remember the years of prayer, the nights of tears, the silent obedience, the moments when you almost quit, yet chose to trust God one more day. That is why your testimony will carry power, because people will see the blessing. But heaven knows the process. Chosen one. God says, do not become bitter toward those who laughed at you. Let my blessings speak louder than your revenge. You don't need to prove anyone wrong. You don't need to remind people of what they said. You don't need to seek recognition. Simply continue walking with me. Because when I elevate you, the change in your life will answer every question they ever had. The season of mockery is ending. The season of favor is drawing near, and the God who watched you remain faithful while others laughed is preparing to honor your faith before the very people who doubted you. Chosen one, if you've stayed until this final part, then perhaps this message wasn't found by accident. Perhaps God wanted to remind you that every painful season you've endured has been preparing you for this moment. Today, He says, the laughter of people was never stronger than the promises I spoke over your life. For years, you carried the weight of other people's opinions. You remembered every insult, every rejection, every person who said you would never succeed. Some laughed because you had little. Others looked down on you because your life didn't match their definition of success. Some even treated you as if you were invisible. But today, God says, they judge you by your current condition, but I have always seen your future. Chosen one. The world often celebrates people after they succeed, but God watches the person who remains faithful before anyone notices. He saw you praying when no one else believed. He saw you giving thanks while your heart was breaking. He saw you serving faithfully when no one applauded you. He saw every sacrifice, every act of obedience, every tear that fell when no one else was around. Not one moment escaped His attention. Chosen one. Remember Job. He lost almost everything: his wealth, his possessions, his children. Even his closest friends questioned his faith. People assumed his story was over. But God was not finished. When the appointed time arrived, God restored far more than Job had lost. His ending became greater than his beginning. Chosen one, the same God who restored Job, is still restoring lives today. Your story will not end with lack. It will end with God's faithfulness. Chosen one. There were moments when you almost gave up. You thought, maybe they're right. Maybe my dreams are too big. Maybe God has chosen someone else. But every time those thoughts entered your mind, God quietly whispered, keep going. You didn't outweigh Him. You couldn't always see the next step. But you obeyed anyway. And every step of obedience has been bringing you closer to the breakthrough you cannot yet see. Chosen one. God says, the blessing I am preparing is not only for you. It will become a testimony that strengthens the faith of others. People will look at your life and realize that impossible situations do not limit an unlimited God. They will see that delays do not cancel divine promises. They will understand that God's timing is never late. They will witness His favor resting upon someone they once underestimated. Chosen one. Very soon, the people who laughed at your struggles will become silent before your testimony, not because you sought revenge, not because you tried to prove them wrong, but because my work in your life will be impossible to ignore. Doors that remained closed for years will suddenly open. Opportunities you never imagined will appear. Peace will replace anxiety. Joy will replace disappointment. Hope will replace discouragement. And you'll realize, I was never delaying your blessing. I was preparing the perfect moment for it. Chosen one. When that season comes, stay humble. Don't forget the days when you had nothing except faith. Don't forget the nights when prayer was your only comfort. Don't forget the moments when everyone else walked away, but God remained. Because the greatest blessing is not the success itself. The greatest blessing is knowing who carried you there. Chosen one. God says, never let success make you forget the lessons you learned in struggle. Continue loving people. Continue walking in humility. Continue trusting me. continue giving me the glory, because the higher I lift you, the more people should see my goodness through your life. Chosen one, as this message comes to an end, carry this promise deep within your heart. Your lack was temporary. Your struggle was temporary. The laughter of people was temporary. But God's purpose for your life is eternal. Every delay had a reason. Every rejection had a lesson. Every hardship was building the person you are becoming today. Nothing has been wasted. Not one prayer, not one tear, not one act of faith. Everything has been preparing you for the season that is now approaching. So lift your head. Keep believing. Keep praying. Keep walking by faith. Because the same God who watched you remain faithful while others laughed is about to bless you in a way that leaves no doubt His hand has been upon your life all along. And when people ask, how did your life change so dramatically? You won't point to luck. You won't point to talent. You'll simply smile and say, it was God's perfect timing. Chosen one. Those who laughed at your struggles will one day stand in silence, amazed by what God has done in your life. Stay faithful, because your season of divine favor, restoration, and breakthrough is closer than you think. The laughter is ending. Your testimony is about to begin.